Yo, 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 what's up, YouTube? It's the Junkie, and I'm back with another video. This one is another What's in the Short Box video. I recorded a few of them, and they're just saved to my phone, and I'm going to release them like once a week. So, this one here is going to be my Age of Apocalypse X-Men miniseries, and random X-Men related miniseries and one-shots. I have about 3 short boxes just full of random miniseries. I am in the process of trying to get them all together, so I may have other books of a run of a miniseries and another box that you'll see. So I'm just going to wing it and just pull out a box and go through it and show you guys. I at least put them in numerical order. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I like showing off my collection to show you guys, you know, there's more to collecting than just collecting keys and variant covers. There's a lot of good miniseries and runs out there to complete and collect. So let's go ahead and get started. I got Miss Haley here. She's ready. Here is Bishop, number 1 of a 4-issue miniseries. There's issue number 2. What I try to do, guys, is turn my light off on my camera. It was given too much of a glare at the angle I was at, so hopefully this helps. But there's number 2. There's number 3. Number 4, and that was a 4-issue miniseries. Here is Gambit. I believe this was his first miniseries, but here's number 1. I got 2, 3, 4 copies of number 1. There's issue number 2. I got 2 copies of number 3. And issue number 4 of his original little miniseries. And then he had another ongoing series. I don't remember how many issues this it says 4-issue limited series, but there's number 1, number 2, and here's number 5. I'm not sure if this is part of a different miniseries or what, but maybe they extended it one more book. And then up next is Rogue, her little 4-issue miniseries. So there's I got 2 copies of 1, 2, 3, and number 4. So pretty stoked about that. Up next is Storm 1, number 1, and I think this was the 4-issue miniseries too. And I believe this is the only issue I have of that. Now, I could be wrong. It could be in another box. But here is Domino, issue number 2. I got 2 copies of that. And 3. I've got 2 copies of that. Now, I know I do have this run completed. So they are in another box. Yeah, so I know that run is complete. So, like I said, they're all kind of mixed up. So here is Scarlet Witch number 1. I believe this is the only issue of this that I have. And if you guys are Magneto fans and you guys want a good miniseries to read, pick this up. X-Men Magneto Testament. It's basically him growing up with his powers and how he struggles. So it's a really good miniseries, but there's number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. They kind of hinted at it in X-Men Apocalypse when he was a child, and I think it was X-Men Apocalypse, the movie, where he was a child in a concentration camp during World War II. It's kind of deals with that. So up here is Colossus Bloodline. Pretty cool miniseries too. I'm a big Colossus fan. There's number 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5, and 5 of 5. Colossus is another one of my favorite heroes. Most of my favorite heroes are on the X-Men team, so no shock there. My favorite villain is Sabretooth, and I try to collect all his little miniseries too when I can. So here is Sabretooth Open Season, number 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, and 4 of 4. So pretty stoked about having that. Let me see. I do believe I have some more of his miniseries. Yep, right here. All right, this one coming here. I love this cover here, Death Hunt. Love the cover. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have 5 copies of number 1. And here's issue number 2. And number 3. I believe this was a 3-issue miniseries. Could be wrong. Could be 4. So if I need it, I'll hunt it down. And then here is a one-shot with Sabretooth, a What If. What If starring Sabretooth. So yeah, pretty cool to have that. Almost done here, guys, with the little mini-series in my collection. Here is Nightcrawler, number 2 of 4. Now, I don't remember if I have more of this mini-series or this is the only issue. Like I said, it could be in another box. So you may see this in another video, any more of these issues. But here is his other thing. I think it went up 20 or 15 issues. But Nightcrawler, there's number 5, number 9, and number 11. Okay, here's a couple more Domino miniseries. I know I have this complete, so I know there's some more Domino books in another box. So there's number 1 of 4 and number 2 of 4. I believe I picked up 3 and 4 at Tampa Bay Comic Con. So pretty stoked about that. Get these out of the way. Here is Magic in her 4-issue miniseries. I have 2 complete sets. So there's 2 number 1s. There's issue number 2. I have 2 copies of it. Here's issue number 3. And I have 2 copies of it. Number 4. And 2 copies of it. So, yeah, pretty cool to have that. And then up next is Iceman, before they made him switch teams, if you know what I mean. There's number 2 of 4, 3 of 4, and 4 of 4. I am missing number 1, so that series is not complete. Okay, now for probably one of my favorite little mini-series here, and was pretty hot for a minute back in the day, is Psylocke. Yeah, this mini-series here, guys, was freaking smoking back in the day. These number 1 issues, the whole series was going for pretty good money. So there's Psylocke. I've got 2, 3, 4 copies of number 1. There's issue number 2. And these are all done by Finch. So I got 2 copies of 2 and 3 copies of 2. Now one of my favorite covers that I can't believe I haven't put in one of my top 50 covers or whatever is this one. Issue number 3 with her versus Wolverine. I've got 2, 3 of them. And here's the final issue, issue number 4. And I have 2 of those. So I have 2 complete sets, almost 3 complete sets of this little mini-series here. I was buying these on the cheap when I could find them back in the day. Alright, now for my Age of Apocalypse run. Pretty good mini-series. It came out in the 90s. Like I said, it put heroes as villains and villains as heroes. And it's a really good mini-series, guys. If you guys can find a trade of it, I suggest picking it up and reading it. It's really pretty good. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do with the one-shots or the 2-issue mini-series leading into the regular series. So here's X-Men Chronicles number 1 and issue number 2. It basically gave you a rundown of the history of the characters and which side they were on. And then the foil cover goodness kicked in. Here is X-Men Alpha, A New World, A New Beginning. Beautiful cover. I have 2 copies of it. And then I try to pick up multiple copies of these books when I can find them on eBay pretty cheap. Here is X-Men Prime number 1 with Wolverine on the cover. I've got 2 of those. And probably my favorite cover of the one-shots is X-Men Omega. This here has got... I'm trying to get it to where the glare is. That's why I turn my light off my camera, the glare. Magneto versus Apocalypse. Beautiful cover. It's all foil. I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 copies of that. And these were just one-shots. And then I have Age of Apocalypse, The Chosen. Again, it gives you a rundown of the characters and what teams they're on. And I have 2 of them. And here's a Generation X collector's preview. I don't know why that's in there, but yeah, there you go. So pretty stoked about that. Now into basically the mini-series. X-Men Universe #1. This was a 2-issue mini-series here. And here's issue #2. This basically gave you a rundown on the heroes that aren't mutants, like what happened to them during this time frame in this miniseries. So you can see Hulk, and it just gave you a rundown on the other heroes that aren't superheroes. There's Daredevil, there's Thor. I mean, it just gives you a rundown on just the different characters during this time in the world. Okay, so what I try to do is I try to pick up 2 complete sets of each little mini-series, so that's why you're going to see doubles, and maybe some triples, because I found some for cheap. But Weapon X, it's got Wolverine, of course. He's missing his hand. So I have 3 copies of #1. Here's issue #2. I've got 3 copies of it. And issue #3, I've got 2 copies of it. And 4, I've got 3 copies. Like I said, guys, if you guys haven't read this miniseries, if you don't know anything about it, I suggest, picking it up in trade. I believe it is in trade. And if you're an X-Men fan or just a good fan of a good story arc, I suggest that you'll really like it. Here's Factor X #1, and it's got Havoc, Beast, Cyclops, Multiple Man, and these guys. I believe these guys were bad. So these were the villains of the universe. There's 2 copies of #1, and here's 2 copies of #2, #3, and here's 2 copies of #4. So like I said, I believe they were the villains, and some of them started feeling guilty towards the end, but I am not 100%. It's been a long time since I read this miniseries, guys. And here's Generation Next #1. There's #2. I got 2 copies of it. Issue #3. And issue #4. Obviously, Colossus is on this team. So, yeah, pretty cool. Like I said, I got almost 2 complete sets of each little mini-series. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Up next. Yeah, and all these were like 4-issue miniseries. Or 4-issue, 4-issue miniseries. So, here's Excalibur #1. I got 2 copies of it. There's #2. Of course, this team is led by Nightcrawler. I've got 2 copies of it. #3. And #4. And I have 3 copies of #4. So, yeah. Damn, I may have to reread the series because looking at these books has got me interested in them again. Okay, up next is Gambit and the Eternals. There's issue #1. I got 2 copies. Issue #2. I've got 2 copies. Issue #3. 2 copies. And issue #4. 2 copies. Getting down to the wire, guys. Almost done here with this short box. Okay, up next is the Astonishing X-Men. #1, this team here was good. They were on the good side. It's got Magneto, Sabretooth, Rogue, Storm, Iceman. So these guys were good guys. Actually, Magneto was the leader of the whole thing. So there's #2 with an awesome cover with Sabretooth. And here's issue #3 with Rogue on the cover. And there's issue #4. I only have 1 issue of #3 on that. Otherwise, I'd have 2 complete sets. So there's that. And the last mini-series, guys, for this is the Amazing X-Men. There's issue #1. #2. Got 2 copies. #3. I've got 1 of those. And #4. Final issue. But, yeah, that's it, guys, for what's in this short box. 15 minutes, not bad. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, check out this miniseries, man, The Age of Apocalypse. It's a really good miniseries, a lot of good titles, a lot of good books, and it's a good story. So, thanks guys for watching. Remember to like, thumbs up, thumbs down. And yeah, it's Junkies. Stay tuned for my next What's in the Box, What's in the Short Box. And I am out. Peace.